Talk about what was really going on. Immediately after that, she was relieved of all those symptoms. And so I'm hearing that from a medical doctor, and I'm thinking to myself, hi, I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, which means that I help people change by using the power of their own subconscious mind. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've written over 20 books on hypnosis. I've created over 5,000 hypnosis recordings, and I'm very adamant about people learning how to take control of their lives by taking control of their minds.
When I say the word Madagascar, you will go immediately to the deepest level of hypnotic sleep.
There's a movie that came out by a famous person who I love, Woody Allen. He's a famous director. I really love his work, but he produced a movie that kind of messed us up a few years back. It's called Curse of the Jade Scorpion. Great movie, but in the movie, he hypnotized the person in the movie hypnotizes people, including Woody Allen, and tells them that when you hear this special word, you'll commit a crime. You'll rob your next door neighbor, you'll rob a bank, and the word is Madagascar.
When I say the word Madagascar,
when you hear that word, you'll be activated and you'll have to do these crimes, participate in these illegal things, do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. That's not realistic. Now, it's a great movie, and I love Woody, but the idea that people get from that and other movies like that is that hypnosis is some kind of tool that can be used for evil, to make things happen against people's will, to make them do things they wouldn't normally do. That's not true. Hypnosis is safe and natural and actually normal and happens to you every day.
How do you feel?
Read a book or ride a bike or do something that you can do by rote without really focusing on it. You are in hypnosis. And the only difference between those times and the times that you'll spend in a hypnotic state in a hypnotherapist's office or listening to a recording would be two differences. Number one, the hypnotist is causing you to go there by using relaxing words. The other difference is they're putting positive thoughts in your mind while you're there. But other than those two differences, it's no different than you spacing out or reading a book or riding a bike or going into hypnosis normally throughout your day.
A spiritual shift. Do you feel it?
You know, there is a big shift going on right now. People are becoming more aware, they're becoming more conscious of what's going on. For example, I talked to a doctor at Cedars-Sinai, the medical center in Beverly Hills, California recently, and we were talking about certain conditions that are psychosomatic, meaning they're things that people think up and then they cause them by their thoughts. And he actually had a client who was talking to him and he was treating her. She had all the symptoms of multiple sclerosis, except that she didn't actually have it. She was manifesting those things by her thoughts. So it was psychosomatic. It was caused by her thoughts and manifesting itself in her body. And so he worked with her. He actually gave her the truth serum, which is an interesting approach. In hypnosis, we would use hypnosis, but he used the truth serum and got her to relax and open up and talk about what was really going on. Immediately after that, she was relieved of all those symptoms. And so I'm hearing that from a medical doctor, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, you know, there really is an enlightenment going on among what we would consider the higher ranks. You know, medical doctors are becoming aware of this. And so it's not just medical doctors, it's a lot of people. You know, we talk about the law of attraction now. That wasn't happening 10 years ago. This is something new that people are really talking more and more about. It was just its baby stages, and now we hear everyone realizing, okay, wait a minute, if I think negatively, I might have a bad day. I might attract negative things. I need to keep my thoughts positive. So I am seeing this as a worldwide shift. You know, a lot of people get into the law of attraction. They hear, okay, I think positive all the time and good things are happening to me. And they like that. So they start thinking positive, 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 think positive, positive, positive. And then inevitably what happens is they have a negative thought. Oh my goodness, something happened. I guess this isn't going to work out for me. Or oh my goodness, I'm not going to measure up, or anything like that that's negative. And then they think, well, you know, I'm just gonna have these negative thoughts, so the whole thing's not going to work. you've got to realize that you're human. You're not a computer. If you were a computer, things would be a lot easier. They'd also be a lot more boring. You're a dynamic, wonderful, amazing, beautiful human. And because of that, we have these things called flaws. And they're really not flaws. They're just part of being human. They're just us. So when you make a mistake like that, don't look at it as a mistake. Look at it as being human. Acknowledge it. Okay, I said something or thought something negative. Big deal. Then go ahead and focus on positive again, because the law of attraction works on your predominant thoughts. What are you mainly thinking about? Not only that, but it also works based on what are you putting emotional energy into? What are you really focusing on that you put your heart into? That's where the manifestation happens. So if you're focusing on all this terrible stuff that you think might happen, you're really getting worked up about it, well, guess what's going to happen inevitably? Yeah, terrible stuff will happen. But if you think about positive things predominantly, and you put your emotion in that, and you surround yourself with positive people, positive things are going to happen. So if you think a negative thought every now and then, like I do, like everyone does, don't worry about it. Hypnosis can really help you bridge the gap between wanting to be positive and actually being positive. Because it's nice to go to a seminar, right? I mean, you go to a seminar, you get all pumped up, you think, hey, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to be positive. What happens a few weeks later? Well, you go back to your everyday life where everyone's the way they always were, and you can fall back into that rut. Hypnosis can make the difference because it can keep you in that mindset of being positive. It's this positive programming that can enter your mind over and over again. Usually people listen to hypnosis recordings at night, for example, programming themselves to get rid of the negativity of the day, focus on positive stuff. And by the way, negativity is always going to happen. You're not going to get to a point in your life where there's no negativity, where everything's flowers and roses all the time and there's songbirds singing. That doesn't happen. Life is going to be negative sometimes, but hypnosis comes into play because it gets you focused on being positive most of the time and realizing that, hey, these little challenges that come up, they're just little tests, they're just little minor challenges, and you can overcome them. Well, hypnosis is just a relaxed state of mind. You're just relaxed, and we can induce that with what we call an induction, which is just having you imagine yourself walking along the beach, for example. I use my hypnotic voice. I start talking smoothly with no highs or lows. And in doing that, I can get someone into a hypnotic state and have them just relax a little bit down to what we call alpha. Now, normally we're in beta, full awakening consciousness. If we relax a little bit, we go down to alpha, which is where all the magic happens, where all the change happens. Below that, we have theta and delta. Now realize there's no difference between the hypnotic scale and the sleep scale. So for example, people think, well, I listen to a hypnosis recording and I'm falling asleep every night. Well, it's not a separate scale. You will just go into alpha and then theta and delta and probably bounce around a little bit between theta and delta, occasionally come back to alpha throughout the night while you're sleeping. And sometimes you'll wake up to use the restroom, and that's fine. You're going in and out of those states. Those are all hypnotic states, though, and they're all exactly the same as the hypnotic scale, alpha, theta, and delta. So we have a scale that already exists in nature. It's not something unnatural. It's not something made up. It's not something new that you have to learn. It's something you naturally do every day. The only difference is we're putting positive thoughts in your mind while you're there. Some people worry that if they go into hypnosis, they're going to go into a coma, or they're going to do whatever the hypnotist tells them to do, even if it's the wrong thing to do, or that they're, just not going to come out of hypnosis. And those things are wrong. Those are not correct. The worst thing that would happen if you went into hypnosis and got into a trance very deeply is you take a nice nap and you'd wake up in about 20 minutes or whenever you had the rest that you needed. So it's no different than falling asleep. It's exactly the same, and it's just as safe. So a lot of people feel they can't be hypnotized. But it's interesting because Harvard and Stanford developed a scale about this a few years back. It's the scale of hypnotic susceptibility. Now, I like the word suggestibility more, but they call it the scale of hypnotic susceptibility. And interestingly enough, everyone is somewhere on that scale. And I look at it like electrical conductivity. Every substance on this planet will conduct electricity. Wood doesn't conduct it very well, but it does conduct it. Metal conducts it very well. So it's kind of that way with hypnotic suggestibility, as I like to call it. Everyone is suggestible. And also, you don't realize it, but you go in and out of hypnosis all day long. For example, you wake up, hit the snooze button, you go back into a hypnotic state. You get in your car to drive to work or wherever you're going, you go into a hypnotic state. It's a very light state, the state of alpha, but it's still a hypnotic state. Anything alpha or lower is hypnotic. So the states go beta, full awakening consciousness, alpha, a little relaxed, like when you're vacuuming or reading or riding a bike or driving a car, and then theta, and then delta. And so anytime you're at alpha or lower, you're in hypnosis. We go in and out of alpha all day long. Anytime you space out or daydream or read a book or ride a bike or do something that you can do by rote without really focusing on it, you are in hypnosis.
Action.